Hey guys, this is Jim, KN4YCD. You're watching FEPLabs Radio. Today I wanted to show you a Simpson Model 467. This is a retro piece of technology, and let's take a look at it and see what all it does. This is not new sexy. This is a fairly old model. I don't know exactly the date. I would guess early to mid 90s probably. This is a Simpson Model 467 true RMS multimeter. This has the standard functions you'd expect on a multimeter: voltage, current, as well as resistance, and then it also does continuity and diode check, and it also can do some self-test functions as well. So the screen on this thing I think looks pretty fine. I've already got it set up for current, so let's go ahead and kick on the power supply. And I'm putting out 0.131 amps on the power supply, or 131 milliamps, and this is set on the 200 milliamp range, and I'm getting 130.5 milliamps, so that's hitting exactly where it's supposed to. The way this thing works, let me go ahead and cut that off. The way this works is very similar to any other meter you've ever seen. One thing, a couple things on this that are cool are this little chart on the back. This tells you the exact settings you need on the meter. Let me get up a little closer. This tells you the exact settings you need on the meter to do a specific function. So voltage DC, 200 millivolts up to 1000 volts. The inputs I need to use, the accuracy, and then the max input with a couple caveats down there. DC current, AC current, of course AC volts as well, ohms, continuity, and pulse detection. And this also has peak hold. Peak hold is cool because as you're making a measurement, you press peak hold down, and then the peak will hold on the screen. So if you're seeing the voltage jumping all over the place, you can just set peak hold or the current or whatever, and it will sit on the peak that it's detected until you release peak hold, and then it'll go back. So that's pretty swank. The one thing that's different about this is most meters that you see have a female banana plug connector on them. And if I pull up my other meter here, my Pros kit, you can see those are female connectors. And then the actual banana plugs themselves are the male side. This is reverse. So it was a little tricky to find connectors that work for this, but I found a set. Of course, there's our voltage and our resistance are common, and then if we're going to measure current, then we have to switch the red lead over to the milliamp setting. And other than that, it works, you know, just like any other meter. I happen to like older tech, and this is a nice little desktop meter. This is probably going to end up in my office in the house where I can just leave it sitting on the desk and not worry about it. It has it runs off a 9-volt battery. There's also some fuses inside, and that's the self-test function. You can self-test and it will check the fuses. One of the fuses was blown. I had to do a little fuse replacement. I had to hunt down a glass fuse, a 2 amp 250 volt glass fuse, and I managed to find one. I found a 1 amp glass fuse, and that's what's in there right now. So I doubt that I'm going to be measuring up to the full capacity of this, and it's not like that's something I'm going to typically do anyway. Most everything I deal with is in milliamps, millivolts, or low voltage DC in any case. So on top, you can see voltage, milliamps, resistance. This is also continuity, AC or DC. There's our peak hold, there's our power on and off. Here's our range buttons. So the blue is the resistance, yellow is current, pink is voltage. If we do a continuity test, we switch it to ohms, and we press down the AC button. You see the little down arrow in the musical note, and that gives us our tone. And DC him from the power supply. And now he's in continuity mode. I like that because that is loud. That is one of the loudest continuity beepers I've ever seen. Another nice feature down here, you see this little gas gauge down here at the bottom. Let me switch this guy over to AC voltage. And what that shows is a percentage of the range we're on. So I'm going to go to AC. AC down voltage, and I want to go to the 200 volt range. I have a mains outlet right here next to me. So you can see I've got 122 volts. The gas gauge is telling us that's how far we are in the range we're in. So the next range down is, I believe, 20 volts. And we're not going to do that because that would overrange it. There is a little bit of an overrange warning on it. So there's some tolerance past the range that's labeled, but I'm pretty sure if I went down to 20 volts with 200 volts in it, that would be a bad thing. In any case, fellas, that's all I got for you today. Appreciate it if you give me a, well, it's hard to do that when the camera's overhead. Appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the video and make sure to ring that bell so you know when I post new content. It also helps feed the YouTube beast so that you get to see more videos that you might like to see. Guys, appreciate it. Have a great one. 73.